Hello, everyone, and welcome to my next podcast episode of Embodying Your Higher Self Tools for Conscious Living. And today I thought I would do something a little bit different. I wanted to interview a wonderful woman and friend of mine named Monika Reimann, who is a breathwork facilitator. She's the founder of Full Spectrum Breathing. And this is a modality which uses breath as a powerful reset tool to move you towards more ease and a better quality of life. The simple practice with a major wow effect, because the way we breathe is the way we live, according to Monika. And the same is true for the way we live is the way we breathe. That means your breath influences the quality of your life, and breathing is the only automatic function in your body that you can learn to regulate, giving you direct access to your chemistry and physicality. So I love that. It's a beautiful way of explaining what you do, Monika. And I've also experienced your breathwork sessions on several occasions, and I've found them many times to be quite profound and even healing. So I'd love you to share with us, tell us a little bit more about what you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. Thank you for the introduction. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Because I am very impatient with practices that take a long time and that, have the results in some afterlife. So I love to have immediate results. I love to have them so that I can see it immediately. I love to feel it immediately. I love to know that what I'm doing is effective. And I found breath to be really the one tool that is super effective, very easy to understand in its practicality, and also super, super complex in the fine lines and the fine tuning and, the more subtle energies. So it gives me a lot of room to play with. It gives me a lot of room to explore with. It points at the mystery and also it's applicable.
Beautiful. And I know before you got into breathwork, you were a body worker. And how do you see the connection between doing body work and breath work? I've been in your sessions and I've seen you bring in some of that work that you used to do as a body worker, and I'm just curious about that and why you blend those two methods together in your breathwork sessions.
That's a beautiful question, especially now that I had to not touch people. So I wasn't able to facilitate breath work actually hands-on, but I had to move it online in a Zoom session. So for me, that was a very new experience. And I found it works too, because actually we are in this field of energy. We are energy, and energy cannot be lost or created. It can only be transformed. And that is possible at any time. So as we connect to our own sensations within our own body, we are able to connect to that intelligent field and find our own answers. So I don't really need to be touching anybody, even though it can be very effective, but people can find their own wisdom by actually removing the energetical charge or the emotional charge around issues. And as soon as we do that, it actually becomes wisdom.
Beautiful. I love that. And I feel that. And it's really about putting the power back into that person's hands, their own hands, and them recognizing that they're a sovereign being, and that, we as facilitators just give them the key, turn the key to open the door, that they have everything they need. They just aren't fully aware of yet. So can you speak to that a little bit more, and just how you feel that breath work
Sure.
opens that up even more?
So for me, I've observed in my own life that if ever I was traumatized in any way or form, and I held that trauma in my cellular memory in my body, it became something that I started to identify with, that I started to project outwards and also reject in myself. So somehow it created a split within my own being. And I found that breathing actually brings up whatever is unintegrated in the body and begins to metabolize it. So I get access to those aspects in me, and it becomes available. And the moment I stop judging it and just observe it as the energy that it actually represents, I also get access to whatever is in my body, whatever I can feel and sense in me. It has a relationship to the outside world. It has a relationship to something in the universe. So I get a sense of being much bigger than just that little unit that's trying to creep along in this world. But I become, yeah, I get this access to that mystery that I live.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And it's really empowering that, this work can do that for people, especially now in these challenging times with this pandemic, when many people are forced into isolation through quarantine, or other people are choosing self quarantine or self isolation. This is really historic. I've never experienced anything like that in my nearly 56 years. And they're seeking tools to help them not just cope, but really go deeper and access that purest potential. And I would love for you to share how they perhaps can use breathwork to do that even more through perhaps
Sure.
a practice that you can share with us.
So breathwork usually is referred to as a practice that takes a while. So my breathwork usually takes about an hour. So there are easy practices that we can do immediately, like as soon as we get stressed and our system switches into that sympathetic response, which is fight and flight, or perhaps freeze and faint even. So we can switch back by actually taking a conscious breath back to our parasympathetic nervous system. So that means we can come back to a creative response rather than a reaction that's been lived already and that has proven survival is possible. But we don't just want to survive, we want to live and we want to thrive. So
Absolutely.
breathing is the one practice that can get you into that state immediately. So if you want, I can just show you how that works.
I love that. Please do take us through a short practice that could benefit the listeners and those who will be later, perhaps watching this on YouTube. That would be great.
So if you feel stressed or anxious, what happens immediately is either you hold your breath, so you stop breathing altogether, which obviously does not give you a lot of energy to act. And it shifts also your brain function to the most ancient part of the brain, which is in the back at the brain stem. And basically, you switch to responses that have been established in times when we had dinosaurs running on this planet. And, we had to really just fight off very simple things. And we had only the response of running or facing something and fighting. So our breathing can also become very shallow and fast, where we have a lot of nervous energy. So the moment you feel that, the moment you sense yourself being all over the place, not knowing what you're doing, come back to your breath. So start with your exhale. So you're breathing the exhale, lengthening it, and you perhaps even including a sigh. So you just do a sigh, breathing through your nose or your mouth, it doesn't matter. And just by sighing, you notify your brain there is no danger. So immediately your brain chemistry switches to, ooh, okay, danger's over. And then the next inhale you take through your nostrils, you're breathing it in and slowing it down too. And then taking that exhale again, lengthening it, softening it. And then perhaps you can even use your fingers and start to count. So your inhales become 5 counts. So you're inhaling for 5 counts.
Okay.
And you're exhaling for 5 counts. And then perhaps you even place a short pause. And then you're inhaling for 5 counts. Inhale. Exhale. Pause. Inhale. Exhale. Pause. And softening the whole thing, just really dropping into it. In. X. Pause. And now you're even slowing down the counts. So how much more can you smooth your inhale? How much more can you lengthen your exhale? And in that pause, can you find that stillness? And in 4, 5, exhale. 3, 4, 5, pause. In 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, pause. Slow down even more. In 2, 3, 4, 5, out. 2, 3, 4, 5, and pause. And continue like this. And just see how different you're feeling right now. Noticing that the inhale and the exhale are the same length, which brings the balance between the female and the masculine energies within ourselves. Just see how present and clear you feel, how relaxed you become, and how easy and effective it is, so that you can choose your responses rather than reacting to something. So you can do this for any length of time. You can make this a morning practice. You can do that at any time in between, just 3 of those breaths. And if you're using your fingers, actually moving your fingers, you really come into your body.
That's fabulous. I can already feel kind of settling into my body. I wasn't stressed really before, but I feel even more deeply relaxed. I can imagine that somebody perhaps who's really having a lot of anxiety issues, this would be very, very beneficial for them, yes?
Yes, absolutely. Also, what it teaches them is coming out of their mind. So really using that mental, emotional energy and transforming it into kinesthetic physicality. So really by feeling that breath, reaching the body, reaching the belly, the diaphragm, the chest, exploring what actually happens, really opens us up to that present moment.
Absolutely, and I'm really an advocate for breath work. I mean, I'm not a breath work facilitator like you, but I do use breath work meditations such as the Osho chakra meditation, and I often include breath work when I'm working on somebody doing healing, just reminding them to take deep breaths in and out, because I can feel as we bring in the breath, it's shifting the energies, and it's especially with trauma anyway. My experience is, because I do a lot of work with people with trauma, fears, and phobias, that I have them using the breath as a pump to help shift that energy block that was created by the trauma. And literally, they're releasing it with each breath as they exhale out. It's really incredible. And it's just breath. It's really amazing,
Yes.
actually.
And you can actually even see a relationship in life to receiving. How much can you receive? How well do you inhale? How easily or restrictedly do you inhale? And how easily do you let go? How's your exhale leaving? Are you doing it? Are you fighting your way out of yourself? Or do you actually let it go and let it be surrendered and relaxed? So you can really see that relationship already. That's just one aspect of it.
Thank you. That's a wonderful explanation. And I feel amazing, actually. And I highly encourage people. Monica does a weekly online Zoom meditation virtually, and I just participated in her session this week. It was wonderful. So later at the end of this, or soon, we'll mention Monica's website. I'll also put it in the information for YouTube in the comments below, so you can sign up for that if you would like to experience breath work with Monica. I absolutely recommend it. I'd also like to ask you, Monica, just about just how you're feeling as we move into this new season. How does it how does it feel for you as we move into the spring, and what the possibilities are for all of us to shift into a new way of being, a new consciousness?
That's a beautiful question. So really spring is all about sowing seeds. So planting those seeds that you're going to be nurturing. And this pause for humanity and for nature, it's thriving actually. Nature is becoming much more expansive and beautiful. The air is clearing, and the plants are really thriving. The animals are free to roam in places where usually people are all over. So I really feel that this is like a new phase for this earth, and I feel that there's also a lot of consciousness waking up in people, because simply by being reduced to what they have created for themselves as a home, they become much more aware of what was important to them in order to create that, and what do they want to move forward into. So as this awareness begins to take place, and to really plant the seeds for whatever new is emerging, I feel that we also realize how interconnected we are, how important we are for each other. And I feel that there's an emerging of co-creation, of really conscious co-creation, of humanity and nature all together. Like, we cannot exclude one from the other. If we're at home, we're really missing being out in nature. And if we're disconnected, what do? We reconnect however way we can, which is now online.
Yes, yes, it's a really unprecedented time. I mean, it's just incredible what's occurring in the world, and I do believe people are waking up. Not everybody, but a lot of people are, and I do believe that there is a greater consciousness occurring around the planet. There was that huge Unify global meditation. It was amazing to see how many people were involved in that. And yeah, it feels like people are realizing that it's time to get away from Netflix. It's time to really go deep and uncover all the things that they weren't looking at. And I think breath work, back to breath work, obviously that's a way, that's one tool that can allow us to, you know, really take charge of our life and take charge of our spiritual growth
Yeah.
and personal healing. Yeah.
Even be present in networks. Like, if you feel yourself getting emotional or reacting to the film, you can take a breath, feel where you feel it in your body. It can be actually a really amazing practice.
I
So
love
get
that.
away from it, you can move into it in a new way, in a more conscious way.
I love that, Monica. Thank you so much for sharing that simple but very powerful breathwork practice. Can you just tell us what your website is so people can find out more about your online breathwork sessions?
Sure. As I was looking for a modality to really present myself to the world, and I did not want to limit myself in any way or form, I found that full spectrum breathing was really what resonated with me. So this is what I called my website. This is what I call my business, full spectrum breathing, and then a .com at the end.
Okay, and
And
that's
there you can find all the information, and then services. You can go to the Zoom online breathwork, and it's based on donations. So if you feel that at the moment there is no financial support for you, join for free. Really take care of yourself and try out something new.
wonderful. So that's once again, it's full spectrum breathing.
Full spectrum
Com.
breathing.com.
Wonderful. That's great. So thank you so much for taking the time out today to come on to my podcast and share the work you're doing. It, you know, you're really making a difference. You're helping so many people in the world, and just for them to recognize the power of breath. So, so many blessings to you, and thanks to all the listeners that are following this podcast. And every month I'll be featuring a different consciousness facilitator. So stay tuned. And there'll be more channeled meditations as well as this podcast continues to be posted every week. So thanks so much, Monika. Lots of love to you.